You're not my man. You're not my man. You're a genius.
And we are live. What's going on, people? Happy New Year. Starting it off right. We are starting it off with another addition to our Who's Man series. Shout out to everybody who participated in the last one. The last one got very
Shout out to
chaotic.
y'all.
It was very spicy. Check it out. It's out on all podcast platforms and the YouTube pages and all that good stuff with Esther Don. Definitely get to see me get a little heated. It was a heated conversation. I got a little bit in my feelings for a quick second, but I was there, you know.
Oh, did I?
Ended the yeah, we got a little mad, but we're gonna go back to our regular
Yeah, we have a
scheduled
positive interview this
programming.
time. Good shit.
Yeah. We're gonna go to our regular scheduled programming. I'm your host, John D. Contradiction, with my homie Reckless DWR. And artist, introduce yourself.
What's up, y'all? Mr. Beleaf in the house. Watch Wolves.
Hey, there we go. There we go. So this is actually super dope because shout out to WVCC Radio. H2 Owens was good. So shout out to him for he sends a lot of stuff our way. But shout out to you. I know you're doing a nice just an artist campaign. You're just dropping back-to-back stuff.
Yeah.
So at first, just to get my release radar right, because I know we dropped the review for Random Acts of Violence, which I rocked with heavy, and I know you have an EP, which we have a review.
Yeah, I finished the review for it. I just got to do the video for it, but it's coming out sometime this week, if not the week after.
So let's we want to ask those two projects, what did they just come out back to back? I know they both got sent to us one at a time. So you want to go through the release process of those?
Basically, I created the EP for Mirage, right? The Random Acts of Violence, it's more or less a compilation album of a lot of tracks that we accumulated over the years, and I kind of just combined them into an album format in order to be able to be on the streaming platforms and all that stuff. And they were mixed better now. I remixed them and also did mastered them and all that shit, so they bump and all that shit now. So that's the reason why I was all right, let me just release it. And it was also kind of a play. If you've heard the Mirage EP on the skit there, where it's artists are the demand for artists is outrageous, right? So it was sort of a play on that. It was okay, well, I dropped this one, now I'm gonna drop another one. You know what I mean? It was just sort of a head nod to that.
There you go.
Okay. Oh, okay. So Mirage is the newest.
Yes, the new one.
Yeah, the new. But the Random Acts of Violence has newer tracks as well.
Has newer
and
tracks,
some of them unreleased.
as far as release though. Yeah. Release. Okay, that's dope. I mean, I definitely can hear that. This is one of the better, just for something that's a compilation. This is one of the better sounding because to a random listener, even me, I mean, I listen to so much music. It didn't give off the feel because the mix is super consistent. The only thing that kind of hints to it, which is kind of half and half, is the fact that it's back to back bangers. You know what I'm saying? And
thank you. Appreciate it.
I was holy shit, this is kicking my ass. It was just heater. And it's you only get that if you're saving a bunch of heaters or if you just had that divine bag when you were I'm in album mode. You know what I'm saying? You just the stars align type shit. But it's bro, this was a fucking super dope project. It just showcased a lot. You did a lot on here. You was rapping about.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that you liked it, though.
More than liked it, bro. I rocked with it heavy. Hey, shout out to Bruce Beats and Eats the podcast with the Wolves. But I rocked with it heavy. I was just yo, this shit is it gave me that. Back when hip hop had that aggressive Bad Meets Evil, Slaughterhouse type era where music was just it's just aggressive and albums were just back to back bangers, and then they'd be one radio hit on it, and what I'm saying, one or two kind of even it out. This was that. Nowadays it's a million radio hits and one banger, you know, and it's
You're
just
lucky.
like, yeah,
Everybody's trying to get that one. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I get
yeah.
those dreams.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a gamble. It's like they don't trust the one that they have. They need to make 10 of them just to, you know, see what catches or whatever their label wants to push. So I
Facts.
appreciated the shit out of that. And I appreciate the fact that, like, you know, having features on here, you're fucking y'all are fighting. These are wars on these tracks, bro. Like, dudes
yeah.
are sparring, bro. I'm like, God.
Well, the beautiful thing about that though is like most of it's family. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
most of that is the Wolves, and even like my man B Dope. That's family right there.
Yeah.
You know, like over here in Miami, right? There's the hip hop community is we tight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, everybody. There's not a lot of hate going on out here. You know what I'm saying? There's
That's
like
awesome.
a community that we built all together now. I mean, prior, you know what I'm saying? Like in maybe 2003 or whatever, everybody was in their own pocket and everybody was like, I ain't fucking with them. But like Miami definitely is like this community where, you know, everybody just help each other out. You know what I'm saying? You want to be on this track? Come on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it too, like just over the last like few years with like, you know, shout out to H2 Owens. He's always sending me stuff and like promoting a lot of like Miami and stuff like that. And I'm like very familiar with a lot of you guys. You know, I see you guys collab all the time, you know, and it's good to see, you know, that kind of unity because, you know, keeping it a buck, like, you know, I'm out here in New York, I'm out here in Long Island, where somebody's like, yo, Miami hip hop, you know, a year ago, I'm like, oh, was that like beach music? What is that like? You know, was that
booty music, bass
Kodak
music,
Black? Yeah, like it's like Kodak Black. You know what I'm saying?
Black
So
crew.
I never envisioned like a scene making music like this, because like then you hear, you know, Money Mowgli, you and shit like that. I'm like, bro, these motherfuckers clearly listen to Dipset, you know, Jim Jones, like they're listening to some shit that I grew up with. Like, so this is dope to see that sound thriving, because that's not even like popping in New York no more, you know, like that kind of gritty street feeling. We're supposed to be the concrete jungle, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's not like that. We're drill out here all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Which is crazy.
Yeah, like I noticed that too. Like the drill movement out there is like heavy,
huge.
You know what I'm saying?
It's huge. Yeah, it's huge. And it's like, that's British, bro. That's English, bro. Like that's
London shit.
Yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's dudes with knives. Now it's guns all of a sudden, you know, because, you know, Pop Smoke and them changed it. But it's just crazy to see Miami just having that gritty, crazy energy that like, even like, you know, the bigger, you know, New York, you got the what are they, the upstate New York guys, and they have like the gritty Griselda type shit, and it's like, that's cool to an extent. You can't listen to it too much because it starts to drag, but to have this like golden era pocket that, you know, is being even advanced on, it's kind of like new Jim Jones type sound and shit like that. It's just, that's a dope sound that like, I don't understand how people don't attract to it, because it does it all. Like, you can swag. Clearly, you show that you can do it. You can swag on it. You can be, you know, thoughtful on it, or you could just spit some aggressive shit and it never misses. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, yeah, I'm not understanding how, like, just like how you said, like it seems like it's not, people don't gravitate towards it as like we did as growing up as, you know, kids or whatnot. It's like the whole boom bap, that whole grimy sound is kind of like left in the dust nowadays. It's like, it's weird. It's a weird fucking thing. It's weird, bro.
Because it's so versatile. Because like even back in the day, like you can have a aggressive R&B track. Like you can't have there's no smooth drill. You know what I'm saying? There's no, you know what I'm saying? There's no like trap that's gonna hit like some real gutter grimy shit. Like trap is just like super thuggery and like, oh, we shoot, and it's like, but there's no trap that's gonna tell you a whole street story. You know what I'm saying?
It's like one energy.
Versatile.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like one thing, and there's no, I mean, unless someone's changed it, like no one's really made those sounds as universal, as flexible as, you know, like the golden era shit. But like your project alone, bro, like there was just different types of stuff, and it kind of seemed like it had that era sound, but like everything sounds different. It sounds fresh. Like everything, the subject matter, everything just hit different. And it's like anybody can grab from that. Not everybody can grab from a straight drill or a straight, whatever.
Nah, it's much appreciated, man. Like, yeah, we me and the rest of my colleagues, the Wolves, like what we do is we're just kind of like we're in love with the art form. You know what I'm saying? We're in love with just the bars. We're in love with making the music, the process.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that I've touched on Mirage, where in Mirage, it's like you have to, the whole kind of concept of Mirage is there's a lot of people out there, you hear a lot of like the motivational shit where it's like, yo, just keep on doing it. You're going to, if you just keep on working hard, you're going to make it or whatever. And that is 100% true in 98% of whatever you're going to be gravitating to or going towards, right? But like how we said earlier, the boom bap sound or that kind of thing, that's not what's popping anymore. So like I've been watching a lot of artists, and this is like all over the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where they're stating that. They're like, oh, you just got to keep on going and this and that. And I'm like, well, like follow your dreams, my nigga. I'm 100% follow your dreams.
Yeah.
But like, yo, like think about where that end is. You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah.
that might not be what you think it is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But if you focus, to me, is like if you focus on the art form or the process itself and just want to make the dopest record that you can make, you've already won. You already reached success. You know what I'm saying? Because once that's done and you send it out, now you can move on to your next success. And then let it, don't look for the destination, just let it take you where it's got to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's kind of like, that's like the, and it's like just visually, like as an artist to myself, looking at it as like, there's like that line, right? Like if your goal is like something that's so inflated, like, a lot of the mainstream sound, it's a gamble. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's a gamble, unless you either got to put a whole bunch of money in there and kind of surpass the gamble, or you're going to gamble. You're going to try your best to strike gold. And that is what it is. But it's like when you strike that gold, a lot of people don't hold on to it. A lot of people don't, they fall off immediately. There's there's more one-hit wonders now than there ever was. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day, one-hit wonders, they're mad memorable. You will remember those, motherfuckers.
You'll at least remember who sang that song.
Yeah.
So nowadays, you just know that song. You don't know who sang that shit.
Now it's just like, oh, I knew that song, but you have no idea who it was. And that person's gone. You know what I'm saying? And it's when it comes to
the wonder part's gone from the one-hit wonders nowadays.
Yeah. It's not real anymore, bro.
It's just wonders.
Yeah, just wonders. Yeah. And it's like when you think of like the boom bap era that, everybody always wants to hate on or whatever. It's like, yeah, but the boom bap era was just one part of the evolution. And it was like, it can always get better. And that's the thing. Like the music will always get better. It would always get better. Like there was a golden era, but like you can always work off of that. Cause there's new age artists who do that and the trap, they mix it and it's dope.
Yeah.
And it's like when you're just constantly like getting better, if you can pay homage and create your own thing, there's no limit. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no limit to how dope your music's going to get. There's no line, there's no destination, there's no gamble. And that's what you commit to, especially like as fans, you want to hear that shit. You want to commit to it. You know what I'm saying?
It's you versus you. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just trying to get better. Feel me?
Yeah. Because it should be like that. I mean, you're not going to you don't see martial artists just be like, oh, I got one knockout, bro. I never need to train again. Like, nah.
No, not at all.
You're supposed to infinitely train and like you infinitely adjust to the times in yourself. So it's like, that's the same thing with hip hop. People forget that it's an art and a sport. Exactly.
I think I've seen something recently where people were saying that oh, hip hop's not a sport. I'm like, I don't know. Yes, there's a lot of sportsman. Sportsman-like conduct that is in this realm. You know what I'm saying?
It's a sport. Like you can.
The most competitive genre of all the genres in music.
Yeah, and it's like there's no. It's like I don't understand people. They try to like not find these comparisons. It's like, bro, I can go shoot hoops in my backyard if I have a hoop, or go shoot, and just shoot some or I can go get a rec league game, or I can watch the NBA. There's levels to basketball, so why is there not levels to hip hop? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it doesn't make me get it. You could want to make it as art, but that don't mean that it don't exist that people are fucking battling each other, and you know what I'm saying, and trying to kill each other on tracks. So it's like it just don't make no sense.
100% true, bro.
Yeah. But again, like that's why like a project like this I can appreciate. Like there's the sound, but this is, to me, you know, being a little bit older, is kind of like what is me kind of taking shots at older cats. It's what they wanted hip hop to be, but it's like, where are they now? Like, why aren't y'all watching? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like the old head that's always like hip hop's dead. And it's like, nah, bro, it advanced. It just didn't advance in the mainstream. So it's like, it's here. Like, go listen.
It's there. It's somewhere out here.
Yeah, it's
like,
there. So it's like, find it.
Gotta
you
find
know what
it.
I'm saying? Yeah, it's like, find it. Tell your nephew to teach you how to use a computer real quick or some shit. You know, like
you can check out Random Acts of Violence on all streaming right now.
Yeah, no, I
go.
like rocked with this, and like I'm, you know, I come from like that aggressive era. I love that era, but like, so to me, this project, this shit hit, and I was like, bro, this is dope. This is some shit I'm gonna listen to at the gym. This is some shit I could listen to while playing some games. Like, this is some shit that I rock with. I could put this behind a kung fu movie, and I'm straight. You know, I'm settled. So this is that type of music. This is that shit you put on before, you know, a fist fight type stuff. So I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah,
but it also makes you
get
think,
hyped to,
yeah, but it makes you think too, and that's what I appreciate. Where, you know, your pen comes in, where and the contrast super dope. Like, you got, you know, dudes like Mowgli who are just, you know, sound like they ate a pack of cigarettes before they got moved, but they got
That's
that
my
grit.
brother right there.
And it's
Yeah,
believable, bro. He sounds dope. Like, he got a cool ass rap voice that most rappers want, but he slick talks. Like, he says some dope street shit. And then you come on with like flows, and you're saying some very like awoke shit, like some real shit. And it's like, damn, this contrast is dope, man. This shit is dope, man. I'm not mad at it.
Much appreciated, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's
that's why we, you know, with me, it's always about bars. You know what I'm saying? Like, things that you could hide inside of the verses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and like Mowgli, all my fam, you know, Joey De Silva, Art, Big G, like we all have different kind of like how you say, like contrast where we range with all kinds of, we don't sound the same.
No, not
you know what I'm
at
saying?
all.
None of us sound the same. We have different styles. We have all kinds of different flavors. But the thing is, we've all been doing this for so long. Like we are definitely 20 plus years in doing this.
Hey.
Like, just
Y'all
not
black
spitting
belts,
bars.
all black belts in hip hop.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like like I said, we fall in love with the process, and that's all we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing, yo, because like, for not to shamelessly plug, you know, my podcast, but the barcodes, I did a podcast where people could, artists or MCs could break down their bars, because a lot of times as MCs, you don't
get that chance.
You don't get that chance to really sit down and explain what you're doing on the little intricacies that you put inside of those lines. You feel me? So it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, I checked out the podcast, and that's like that's a dope thing too, because it's like it sucks in music where people are like, oh, we're only gonna give this artist leeway because they're famous, and it's like, no, but you gotta understand the bars. But it's like, bro, there's so many dudes who studied that guy, who've been working way harder. Yeah. They just don't have that mainstream plug. But like dudes that are fucking intricate, like they really think through. Like, I'm one of those writers. Like, I put a lot into my writing. My shit has layers. I like to, you know, because I'm one of those dudes. Like, I think a lot. I like to go in and out, and like I'm like a perfectionist. Like, I'm always trying to do some shit. But it's like, no one knows, you know, no one knows the full message when I put out a track. They're not gonna fully get it until I say, and like until I tell them, or if I use like genius.com, where people can add those layers behind the lyrics. But
yeah,
it's like that's the funnest part, if someone figures it out. You know, when someone figures out some of what you're saying, you're like, yo, you got it. Like, that shit is dope. Like,
yeah, once they have that, it's like that reveal to the line. Like, and the cool thing about it is, like, sometimes people be like, they'll interpret it in a different way. That's actually doper than that you wanted to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way you intended it. Yeah. And it's just like a beautiful art form, man. You gotta fall in love with that. And once you do that, always winning, man.
Yeah. Yeah, because then it, like once you find that, like once it becomes fun to like add those messages and balance out, like, yo, all right, I'm gonna throw a punchline next to some really like deep shit, but like throw a fucking face wrinkler. It's like that when it becomes a game like that, like that's the beauty of it. That's what when I tell people, like, you got to be a student of the game. Like that's the shit you want to learn. Like that's the shit that like elevates the music. You know, speaking of cats from that, you know, H2 Owens has brought our way. I remember the first dude actually that he sent our way that I was just like, bro, no way dudes are rapping like this, you know, not in New York. And it was fucking, he was just in the chat, Shoddy. And
yeah, man, like, Shoddy the beast, man.
Yo,
that's my dude, man. He's like, I've had him in almost every one of my projects until, you know, these recent ones, because I've always respected his pen, man.
Yo,
you know what I'm saying? He's always been nice.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And it's crazy and
very
like,
consistent too.
Yeah, yeah. And he'll like he'll say some shit that like will hit you like seconds after the punch, and you're like, oh, you know, you're like, that shit is disgusting, bro. But he was one of them, and I always appreciated him, and like I rock with dudes like, you know, super energetic dudes like Tetris. You know, he's out here, crazy energy. But it's just, it's super dope. Like, you guys got some fucking killers, bro.
Yeah, dude.
That's the thing.
Killers.
This is what I feel like. I feel like this is what happened with Miami. You know what I'm saying? Like, Miami, we've all been around doing this for so long. But the thing is, we've always been known for certain genres of music. You know what I'm saying? We had this little tight community back 20-something years ago. And we've seen... You know, we see Pitbull come up. Pitbull came up in that same community, jumped around. But you see, the thing with Pitbull, and I always give respect to Pitbull. Like, actually, I'm in his like the first video. Like, this will show you, it was like in that community. He in his first video, I'm there.
Nice.
And as like a little cameo. But the thing with Pitt is, Pitt was all about. He was legit a hustler. When people talk about hustling, he's a legit hustler. He's like, yo, I don't give a fuck about this boom bap shit or whatever. Oh, trap or crunk. He's like, yo, crunk is the shit that's going on right now. That's what I'm gonna jump on. So he did that shit, and as soon as that shit started fading out, he was like, yo, I'm gonna go over here to you know, Kulo or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? And now he's doing like some other crazy shit.
Do whatever you want.
But essentially,
he rides the waves.
Yeah, exactly.
So essentially, name for it.
Yeah,
exactly. It worked out definitely for him.
Yeah.
But you during that time, you still had like artists like me, Shoddy. You know, a bunch of people. This dude named LMS, that he's in Canada now. He goes by the name of Beleaf. You had a whole bunch of people. Mowgli, you know what I mean? He was part of our whole clique. You had a bunch of artists that were doing shit like this, right? And that were in love with the boom bap sound and you know, the grimy sounds and whatnot, but it wasn't popping in Miami. You know what I'm saying? And we weren't really getting no plays outside of our immediate community. You feel what I'm saying? It wasn't like the internet was like nerd shit when back in the day. We were you posting that shit on the internet, which, you know, that shit. We wish that we did that shit back in the day. You know what I mean? But
you should have followed Soulja Boy. He changed the game. He changed
that was the dude.
Soulja Boy changed everything, bro. With the
there definitely was a stigma back in the day, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, out here, I mean, that was the thing too. Like in New York, like motherfuckers was. If you weren't in Times Square handing out CDs, like, were you even a rapper, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you weren't rapping somewhere or had a million dudes in your peanut gallery to go around and go to, you know, events and shit, if you didn't have that, you weren't a rapper. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah, same in the Bay. You had to be making CDs independently to be somebody. If not, you know, it ain't working.
Yeah. So now it's like the internet is all you need, and it's like, what? It's this easy now, you know?
Yeah, man, But I feel like there's a lot of trickery in the internet too, like especially on these social media platforms and shit. There's a lot of trickery where it's like, a lot of people, they focus on like followers, right?
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this in another interview where I was like, look at like, for instance, Will Smith. Will Smith got literally 6 million followers. Well, how come he's averaging 500,000 likes? That means 90% of those motherfucking people that he follows don't see his post or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So it's like there's trickery in all this shit. So it's like kind of like a mirage.
Yeah. it's also it's part of the game too, which sucks. Like now, like what a lot of artists, which is one of the things that like I like to put on. You know, like I like to blame the old heads for letting hip hop go the way they did and not owning it when they should have. You know, and letting, you know, labels own it. But like now I blame the young cats for not being smart as far as with their ownerships and money. And it's like, you know, it's something as simple as a fucking Spotify wrap up that everybody's like, oh, this shit is dope. And artists are like, yo, here's my Spotify. Will drown out people who use like Bandcamps and this shit or like Tidal that actually will earn you some money. It's just like the game is fucked up, you know, and it's like people don't even realize like Spotify is probably not going to exist in like another year or so because their business is bad.
Yeah,
it's like, and everyone prefers it. Yeah, and it's like everyone prefers it, and it's like why? You know what I'm saying? Like it's like these young cats, they're not like they read first click, you know, the first thing that comes up on Google, and they think it's research, and it's like, yo, it's not. You know, and they also don't listen. So it's like, yo, you guys are, you know, like the older cats I'll blame for letting music go. But it's like, yo, these younger cats, you guys might be burying it, you know?
And the thing is, and they don't also, they don't care about paying homage or not, I wouldn't say pay homage, but they don't care about what the people that came before them. And this is actually a question I raised in my own social media thing. I was like, well, where do you see hip hop in 10 years? When the golden era artists officially retire. You know what I mean? Because you ain't going to have the Nas's, the J's or whatever 10 years from now. So like who's really going to be holding this shit up if you have the younger generation that does not give a fuck about the foundation of the music, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, just from like a mainstream perspective that, I mean, it's like their goal is to get rid of it, you know? But their goal is to get rid of all the stuff that like they can't control. I mean, there was a time where fucking anytime Drake dropped, this topped the Beatles album. It's like, who fucking cares? But it's like there was something behind that because now all you see is, oh, the Beatles were never even good. And the Beatles were this, the Beatles were that. So now the Beatles lose their value because the Beatles still own their own shit. So now it's like, all right, if we weed that out, that's only getting listened by these older folks whose time's running out. That music's gone. We can turn that into something else. Hip hop, it's like, yo, if we keep mashing hip hop with country and all this other shit and making like pop hip hop, the more popular stuff, and only giving the pop award for, or calling hip hop like when it's clearly a pop song, that you weed out hip hop because in a few years, what's going to be hip hop to the newer generation of kids is going to be pop music or whatever the fuck, you know, the mainstream pushes. Then hip hop's gone forever. You know, then it's gone from the mainstream. Then it's controlled. So it's like it's shit like that.
It's kind of getting pushed out, or like you said, it's already getting pushed out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, they disrespect everything. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a time where anytime someone put out something, Biggie Pac conversation. Let's put out a shit Pac movie. And let's bury him more. Let's ruin his name more. And then, like, you know, Jada Pinkett's making Tupac like the worst thing in the world now. You know,
to people.
She's making him.
She's starting to look like him. Shit.
Yeah, it's starting to look like him now. So it's like,
now, if you notice.
Yeah, and it's just like, yo, like that sucks because it's like for certain people, like especially like me or like even Reckless, you from out there. It's like the Tupac era was fucking game changing. Like that shit.
Everyone's influenced by him out here.
Yeah, and he died, and it went on for like a decade after.
Yeah. People make conspiracies about it. It's nuts.
Yeah, and it's now it's gone. Like now it's starting to die out. Like on Mother's Day last year, I didn't hear "Dear Mama" on the radio once. I'm like, that's crazy.
It was always on.
It used to be a go-to. Like
that was like, that would be played on every hip hop station. I didn't hear it once. And I was driving around and shit. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? You know what I'm saying?
Too positive for the new generation.
It's too positive.
Yeah, let my mama cut that out.
Yeah. Oh man, someone's gonna remix that, and instead of "You Always Were a Crack Fiend," it's gonna be like "You Had an OnlyFans, Mama." It's gonna be that for these younger kids. Watch.
Having girls shaking their ass in videos to look like the moms. All bad. Look at all the mamas in the background.
Oh my god, chaotic.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Reckless. I know you got your list of questions. I know.
Yeah, you already know what it is.
30 minutes always.
Nah, you good, bro. I want to talk about the EP because it's the one I got to listen to thoroughly and got to review. How much different was it approaching this project? Because I noticed it was a much more like not serious, but more like a sort of serious project. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I talked a lot of issues and topics, a lot of faith-based stuff. Tell me about the project.
I mean, basically the project, this project, Mirage, was taking most of the foundation of it was me taking a bunch of things I wanted to speak about, but was always hesitant to speak up. You know what I'm saying? Not that it was like a fear thing or nothing, but it was just kind of like, you know what? I ain't gonna put that on the track. You know what I'm saying? Like thinking maybe it'll rub people the wrong way or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. But I just said, you know what? I kept on seeing a lot of shit where my observations, the things on religion, what I touch on, where it's like, yo, you know what? A lot of people, I get it. People don't have to subscribe or anything like that, but don't say you don't care about, like you don't like religion, but you're okay with like Rakim or anybody else saying any other religion. But when it comes to Christianity, it's like, oh, that shit corny or that's this. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So I was just showing that little freaking, how I say that little hiccup or whatever, you know what I'm saying, that I've been noticing. And then the rest of the project was just being an artist in this era. And I was just seeing like where a lot of people are saying, this is how you make it. This, you ain't, this is how you're gonna, this is what you have to do to make it. You basically got to become a social media influencer in order for you to make it in anything now, right? Yeah. That's the path to become successful, apparently, right? And to me, I just thought it was kind of BS on that shit, because I'm like, look, if I gotta like me, I learned a bunch of shit trying to become self-sufficient in my craft. Yeah. So like I learned how to mix. Like my album, all my albums is mixed by me and freaking mastered by me. My videos, that's me. You know what I'm saying? Most of them, 90% of them, the last ones particularly, that's all me. I learned all that shit. But then you gotta like, I know artists that they know how to make their shirts. They know how to do all this shit. They're all self-sufficient. But now you got to also be a social media guru. You got to know when to post. Yeah. What you got to post. And then you got to constantly be on the live. It's like a bunch of.
You got to know how to.
Yeah. And it's like, yo, you know what? Like, hold up. You're falling way behind from what you're supposed to be focusing on, which is your craft. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's all great to be self-sufficient, but you're falling way past your fucking what your craft is, and that's the bars and the music, and that's, to me, that's what this project was about. Where it's like, yo, you know what? You're saying all this. I see a bunch of motivational videos from everybody, all kinds of people, and I don't see a lot of motherfucking rich motherfuckers from that, but they're still saying, yo, this is the way that you got to do it. Yeah, it's like in the land of the lost, the land of the lost, people are out there handing maps to success when everybody's lost. We're all lost in this shit.
Yep.
We're all lost, dog.
Yep.
No, it's crazy because like I remember in the skit, like it talked about like the dude killing you. I do this now, and you're like, all right, bet you're doing it and doing it until it got ridiculous. Like, was that a real life experience you had, or did you ever fall victim to like the whole like I got to be a content factory now instead of just working on make it better?
A little bit both. It's like I remember during the 50 era, you know what I'm saying? Like in the early 2000s, where it's like, yo, you got to drop a mixtape. I dropped the mixtape at that time. I dropped the mixtape over like 23 tracks and shit like that. And like literally a month and some change later, and mind you, the internet wasn't as prominent as it is now. It was out, but like we was out there in the street hustling the CDs. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yo, here, check this out. Going to the beach, going all this shit. And like literally a month and a half later, people were like, yo, that was dope, man. When's your next one coming out? And you're just like kind of like, damn, like I just gave you 23 joints. Yeah, 23 joints. And it wasn't as easy how it is now. Like I could pump out a bunch of tracks now because I'm self-sufficient. Yeah. Back then I had to go to the studio. I gotta get I had to do a lot of shit.
The equipment was different too back in the day. Like you don't got like like even now, like I started producing a while ago, but I learned from like the old MPCs, And that shit was a tough learning curve. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, this shit is hard as hell to use. And then I got the MPC-X, and I'm like, bro, this shit is easy. I'm like, I could make music. Like, this shit is light work. And then you look at like the programs like Fruity Loops and all that stuff. And it's like, bro, it's way easier to get into it. And there's so much more information. Back in the day, you had to have an engineer. You had to have a team, or it just, you was out here either losing money or struggling. You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Facts. That's 100% true. Like, I mean, all the shit that I learned is YouTube University, man. You go over there and you just learn this shit. But back then, you couldn't find the fucking videos because there wasn't a lot of videos to do that, to learn any of that shit.
You had to learn from someone. You like back in the day, like even me, like I do like light mixes of my own stuff. I all of that was from being in the studio, like watching the engineers and learning through them. Like it wasn't, you can't just, now I jump on YouTube I'm on there all fucking day. I'm learning specifics about plugins, but that wasn't a thing back in the day. You know, now, like back in the day, engineers were fucking super impressive. Like beat makers, your mind was blown. You know, you're like, oh shit, he's good on a piano. He doing this. Now it's like,
big
you
deal.
don't even know what's fucking real
now,
anymore.
Yeah.
You don't even know what's real anymore, bro. Like you could buy a drum pack of, you know, already 100 already tailored drum things for every BPM that you can also stretch, slow down, and speed up, and you have endless drums. You know what I'm saying? You didn't hit a single pad.
And those sample packs fucking up the game too, even though they're very convenient, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like people are sharing a lot of the same samples. Like I was gonna say, you hear
a lot of shit, and it like confuses you. Like you'll hear, like I got a Splice account. You know, I get it. I got a Splice account. I'm not digging for crates anymore. I'm not, you know, finding shit, you know, as much as I used to. And then I'll hear a song and I'll be like, oh shit, I sampled that. You know, I sampled it kind of the same. Or you hear everyone rapping on something and then it starts to blend together and you get confused.
Yeah.
And shit.
Especially y'all. I mean, y'all listen to a lot. I'm sure you guys run into a lot of the same samples. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yo, you want to hear something wild? So, which is wild from this page. So, when I started the page, it was like the first year when I started the page, I was, you know, putting out a little bit more music than I do now. And I bought a 3-piece from this producer in like Italy. And I was just like, all right, you know, I got these 3 beats. Bro, tell me why that same year I heard the 3 beats that I bought on like 4 different projects. And I bought exclusives to. I paid exclusives to. Bro, it was, and I put out a whole, you know, because the platform then too, you know, we had power then when we started. I put out a whole hit on him online. I'm like, yo, everybody boycott this dude, like until he sent me my money, like, and I got in touch with the artists that were like that shit, and it was like, it was crazy, dude. Like it was insane.
It's a hustle,
like,
man.
Yeah, it was a hustle. We all got hustled, and then come to find out they weren't even his beats.
Ah, shit. That's
I ended
funny.
up finding out whose beats it was
crazy.
from a dude after I ended up like Shazamming the beat on its own. And, you know, Shazam, you get a few minutes and it'll tell you. And it found like the most popular, you know, version of the song. And it was these 2 artists, and it was the artist and the producer. And I reached out to the producer, and like that dude erased, he like deleted his social media and all that shit. I'm like, yo, that's fucked up.
That's
so new age. It's a new age. You can scam artists that way. It's fucked up.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. And it's like,
it's almost impossible for them to take. It's almost impossible for them to keep track of anybody that's using their beats. You know what I mean? Like I don't think there's any real way for them to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think Spotify or any of these platforms are actually.
They're not really doing it. Yeah,
they're not really doing shit. They're just like, oh
yeah. They're harder on like social media when you post like a song and they give you the copyright strike than they are with the actual like pinging artists who fucking, you know, steal beats and shit like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, but it's a crazy fucking thing. But yeah, shout out to 305 Beatbox, do original beats. Yeah,
always do original beats. Don't even do YouTube at all. That's my thing now for new artists. Just don't do YouTube at all.
No YouTube, no SoundCloud. Just
none of that shit.
Go on Instagram. Find, you know, look up a contest or 2, find some like, you know, real producers. But that's another thing that sucks too about like the advancement of hip hop. It's like 2 steps forward, you know, 2 steps back. It's like with the technology being so easy and like so many things at your fingertips, you would think that sampling would be at its best. Cause it's like realistically, like I had like a moment where I was really getting into fucking Japanese blues, and I found like one dope artist. It was literally off of like a video game. I found this artist and I was like, bro, this discography is fucking crazy. And I started sampling it. I'm like, it's some of the dopest shit I've ever heard. And it's like, people aren't doing, you know what I'm saying? Like that's not like, that should be where hip hop went with the sampling, like international. You could sample shit from all over the world. Like we have access to that now in our pockets, you know, for like a $10 monthly charge. But it's like, nah, everybody wants to use the same samples from Splice because it's
you want to go, it works.
Everybody wants to use the same Drake shit. Whatever he sampled, let's sample that. Like you know what I'm saying? And it's like, that ruins it.
I shout out to my nigga Tev, yo, like, you know, he's a producer that does that. He goes and finds, he digs, you know what I'm saying? Like he did I think Shadi's first couple of projects, it was all first couple of recent projects like the Moskovich and shit. I don't know, I think you remember that. That was all Russian samples that he dug and he found this shit. So that was I appreciate when producers do that shit too, yo.
Yeah, because it still shows that love. Cause like that, like you gotta appreciate where it started. Like dudes were literally like marking records. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy, bro. Like, you know, if for people who knew about it, or if you watched the Get Down on Netflix when that came out, like that story is crazy. Like just that whole energy and that whole process behind it is super fucking dope. Like, and it's like, why ruin something like that? But it's good to find like students of the game who are younger and they mix both worlds. Like it's good to see that exist, you know. But it's just it's rare, you know. It's rare, unfortunately. But like there's producers like this one producer I really rock with, this dude L'Orange. He's from like France and he samples like old mobster sounding type stuff, and he's some of the best production you'll ever hear. Like it's super unique, and he's, you know, it's probably simple for him because it's stuff he probably grew up with and loved, but it's like you'll never hear beats like his.
I'll definitely check him out. L'Orange, you said?
Yeah, Lorange.
I'll show you some stuff in the DMs later.
He works with like rare artists every now and then, but when he does, he mix it, like he picks different like vocally and all that, and it's no project sounds like the same. He's dope. Like all his beats bop.
Yeah, definitely recommend. Anyone listening, check him out.
Yeah.
How'd you set it on your rap name?
Actually, that was my breakdancing name. You know what I'm saying? I used to breakdance.
All right.
Pop.
The element.
True student.
I used to breakdance when I was younger. And it's funny how that name, like the name has levels, you know, over the years, you know what I'm saying? Because I do have a faith, you know what I'm saying? So I put Beleaf. The reason why I don't spell it correctly because it has lie in the middle, the original way to spell it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I spelled it, you know. Also, you know, back in the day, smoked and shit. So I was like, okay, Beleaf, whatever. But also, how it came about was a funny story, yo, because we was like practicing breakdancing in this middle of this complex that had like this pavilion and shit, and we put the linoleum on the floor, and it was like right next to a pool and shit, right? So, you know, we kids, you know, we just breakdance or whatever, and so I jump in the pool. And then, you know, I end up coming back out of the pool or whatever, and they're like, oh, do backspins or do something, you know, do backspins on the linoleum while, you know, I just jumped out of the pool, I'm all wet and shit. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. So I did it, and I blurred. Like, I was blurring, like, when I was spinning, I was going so fast, I was blurring, and there was this old dude, like old Spanish dude, you know, we in Miami, so like he didn't really speak too much English. And he was like, oh my God, I don't believe. So my people for like the whole summer would make fun of me because my name wasn't Beleaf at the time. It was like the name was switched. So my peoples were like, they would make fun of me, you know what I'm saying? Like as an ongoing joke, be like, oh, I can't believe it. So to me, I just ran with it. I was like, yo, I'm Mr. Beleaf, you know what I'm saying? And we rode with it, you know what I'm saying?
Shout out to that dude.
Yeah. Shout out to the compa out there. It's probably cute.
That is, hey, that's going up there for me for top. That's top 3 my favorite.
That's like one of the best stories I've heard. That's fucking awesome.
Good. That is up there for me. That's definitely top 3.
Yeah. No. So now after these projects that are, I'm sure you're promoting them, you're gonna do videos and all that, but like, what's next after this? What's the next project you're working on?
Man, I'm actually staying really busy this year with the projects. I'm really excited with this project I'm working on with this another artist that's out here named Agony. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, Agony the Secret Weapon. If you're not familiar, yo, check him out. He's super dope. I got another project I'm also excited about. It's my man B Dope. He was on the Random Acts of Violence. So we got a project going there. Like, I'm focusing more on like EPs, right? I'm probably not gonna do a lot of probably once a year I'll do like a 15 joint, you know what I'm saying? Like a whole album. But like in the meantime, I'm just gonna be focusing on like 8 tracks with, probably collab with a few artists. Here and there. So I got one with Orion. I think you did a review on his stuff too. And also stuff with my crew, you know what I'm saying? With Watch Wolves, we're working on a series of EPs, but like a collective effort between all of us that we're gonna just drop. So like you're gonna hear a lot more of me this year, hopefully, God willing, you know what I'm saying, that we're gonna try to make some work happen. You feel me?
I rock with that. I think that's definitely the way to go too. For like, I feel like the EP game for underground artists is very slept on, especially collaboration EPs, because it's like, it's you're doubling up the manpower as far as marketing, and you hearing yourself with other artists. You get to hear that contrast, that clash. And it's just something that to me just doesn't get boring. It's exciting to me when I see artists work. Like that's some of my favorite projects are when artists, work with people you would never even expect, or, just the sounds are so different that it works, So that's super fucking dope. Like I'm excited to hear that. I'm excited to see who you work with, and just, it's good to release in like those small batches, because then you don't, then you can take yourself out of the box as far as what people's expectations will be, because EPs are realistically heat checks. They're not just for fans, they're for you to learn, to maybe try something different and not dive too deep into it type of shit. So like, I think that's super dope. Like EPs are very, very much so an outlet to mix shit up, to try different things, try different production, try, you know what I'm saying? Try different styles.
I feel they're great for also like for delivering certain messages. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, with the Mirage EP, that was pretty much a half and half message. It was like this, more or less the religion thing I touched on in the beginning, and then on the other half was speaking to artists. Like I'm speaking to my fellow artists. You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of people will look at it like a lot of artists will listen to the Mirage EP and an artist be like, oh, this nigga's hating. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he's hating because of this. And it's like, no, it's not about hate. It's a reality check also. It's like, we don't always focus on this is the whole world is full of rainbows and everything's going to be great. Now, sometimes that shit don't happen. You got to have the good end of that. You have to see both. And one thing I noticed that nobody's saying that shit. So I was like, it's going to be a little bit nerve-wracking to release it, but I did it anyway. I was like, well, I'm going to speak to the artist, because essentially the fan base that most MCs have now are other MCs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's so true.
So that's why I was speaking to them, because I love hip hop, I love MCing, but I don't want to see what I've seen in the past for artists that go way ham, like they go deep into the grind, and that grind fucking grinds them up like in life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like you're missing all these other opportunities because life has a lot of other shit to offer. Family, freaking just everything. There's so much more. Life is not only this hip hop shit. Yeah, it's essentially what I was trying to say.
You can do to it. Yeah, there's always other routes to take. Like that's the beauty of it. I mean, that's kind of like how this page came about. Like I was always an artist. I was in bands. I was always rapping. I was always doing stuff. But it's like, yo, I never lost touch with the music. I've always listened to music, you know, new and old. Like I've always kept up with it. And I was just like, yo, I want to try a different lane with that. And this opened up doors for me on like, I've got to collaborate with artists who I just truly rocked with. I'm like, yo, this project was dope. And then it's like, yo, would you ever want to work? And it's like, I ended up doing EPs with like producers who I never thought I'd be able to work with, and artists and stuff like that. But I ended up producing for artists and doing, you know, just opened up lanes and other things. And like, you never know. You can't really put yourself into a box and not give yourself a chance, you know? There's so much extra shit that you're blocking out, like that could happen for you, that could open up for you. So it's like
exactly some of the most successful artists in Miami or whatnot, like in our scene or whatnot, they found different lanes that weren't essentially from MC. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, like well, I'm not going to say any names, but there's some that have became very successful in other lanes. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I'm a strong believer that sometimes the path is not a straight path. You think it's this straight, and then it's leading you to another place where you're actually supposed to be. Yeah. You feel me? Like another lane or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's like, and that's a lot of things that like a lot of artists they struggle with, because it's like, yo, we're humans. At the end of the day, we're human beings, and human beings are complex. So don't try to simplify it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may like this now, but you never fucking know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. So it's like, just be open to shit, you know, be open to some changes. Like, listen to some other music sometimes, you know, check stuff out. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know. Like me, I grew up with I used to grow up, like, I'd been in punk rock bands and shit like that, but I grew up loving like 90s New York hip hop. And when I started this page, I started to hear so much other stuff. I realized that I rock with sad boy rap, you know, like that, you know, that emo melodic shit. I'm like, this shit is very catchy. Like, it speaks to me. It's very, you know, it's got like a humbleness to it. And it's like, I would have never found that with the mentality that I had of just like, nah, I only rock with New York boom bap type shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's
you got to be open to all of it.
Got to be open to it. And it's
right.
And then like that, like it impacted my pen. Like I write about a lot of mental health now. You know, I grew up in battle rap. I used to just want to do punchlines. You know, Big L and like was like my favorite rapper. You know, I just wanted to punch. Now I'm writing about mental health and all sorts of shit and yin and yang. You know, so it's like, and I enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? You never know. You know, you never know.
Yeah, you know, like music takes you. You know, this hip hop shit is I've achieved things that I never thought I would. You know what I mean? Like I've got to work with people that I never thought I would, but it was that me taking that initial step to try to make that happen. Like in my last project, the self-titled album, Mr. Beleaf, I got features with Rockness Monster, freaking Onyx.
Fire.
Shout out to John Jiggs, you know what I'm saying? I did a collab with him too.
Hey,
and
Long Island.
Recognize from Mayday, Da Vinci, like just so many dope artists that I respect their pen. I respect
all
their
different
craft.
lanes. Yeah, those
from
are
all
like,
kinds of lanes.
They're all different. You got legends, you got, you know, the Strange Music, like, you know, formerly Strange Music, you got Long Island, like that's vast.
Yeah, you know, and it's just because I just respect the writing. I love the writing. If you can write well and deliver well, I'm rocking with you. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter what genre of music you're doing. You know what I mean? I've heard like, you know, weird country music that just the dude that has a pen and it hits. It's like shit. That's some shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I got put on to what's his name? Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll. I've been doing it.
This shit hit. I'm like, bro, this shit is slide for some country music. This shit slides, bro. Like this shit.
Go ahead, big fella.
Yeah, go ahead, big fella. Fact. But yeah, no, and that's the thing with music too. It's like that, you know, if the collaboration, if the genre bending is done right, bro, like that shit is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, because it pays homage to both, and it's like a good celebration of both when it's done right.
Yeah,
not an insult. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and if not,
facts.
it's some if not, it's some forced bullshit. But when it's done right with like people who love their respective genres and like you know what they're doing, that shit is that's the beauty of music. Like that's the language of music that people sleep on. You know, people take for granted almost. You know.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, here, name me your top 5 favorite rappers of all time. Here, you know, I go with
my top 5.
Yep.
Pressure's on.
All right, I definitely got to put Nas up there. You know what I'm saying? Like Nas is
Facts.
he's always
Facts.
he's always been an inspiration. You know what I'm saying? But this ain't in no particular order. I always felt like Redman has been one of my, if not the GOAT. You know what I'm saying?
Can do it all.
He does it all.
Can do
and,
it all.
And he bodies like the greatest thing about Redman to me is like a new Redman record right now is equivalent to it still has that same feel as of a old Redman record. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But it still has that new taste to it.
And
you know
it
what I'm saying?
has everything. Because like that's the thing where one thing like people forget, like Redman not only can punch like no other, his delivery, his cadence, but he's also street, and also he could be fucking hilarious. You know how hard it is to be funny while rapping? You know what I'm saying? Like that's its own art, bro.
And let's not forget that he has been consistently that for decades.
And he also people sleep. He puts out like his albums aren't just like rap albums. They're story. Like, you know, there's Superman Lover up until, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so many stories and shit. He's the truth. Super underrated. Even if he gets labeled the GOAT, underrated. You know? That's how he is.
Let's see. So I got Red. I gotta put Meth up there too, because Meth was like when I was growing up. Method Man was always like he was like the coolest motherfucker on the planet to me. You know what I'm saying? Like he just seemed like a cool motherfucker all the time.
Yeah.
And plus his bars were ridiculous, and they still are. He still snaps.
Goes crazy.
Only feature on Biggie's first album.
Yeah.
Huh?
The only feature on Biggie's first album.
Exactly. Let's see. And I'm gonna say this. M first of all, because I'm a big M fan, but a more older M, but like you know M from earlier days. But M is definitely up there, and I don't rock with what Umar said. You know what I'm saying? Because Dr. Umar, he's like, I think he bugging and shit.
It's
you know
50,
what I mean?
No one really does.
It's 50-50 with Umar. I like that Umar will support blacks till death. But I don't agree with it. You know, I like that he does that, but I don't agree.
The way he does it.
As far as what he said with M, though, it's like his logic makes no sense. I'm like, then you can't call Michael Jordan the GOAT because the GOAT would have to be Canadian because basketball came out of Canada.
Came out in Canada,
You know what I'm saying?
Like, so it's like I get it. You want to ride or die for your people, which is always flies, but cool with me. I love black people. But M has done more than enough from being a student, from coming from what we've come from, to putting out, you know, black, like he's done enough for the black community.
Shade 45, bro. Like that's him. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
bro, he gave us Griselda.
Exactly.
Like, put some respect on his name. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, put some
I just feel like
on his name.
they always trying to like snatch his status. You know what I'm saying? Like the dude he's the man, bro.
And it's like, bro, Diddy has not done that much for the black. Diddy has tarnished more of the black.
He's done a lot of bullshit.
Has put money in the black community's pocket. So it's like, bro, like put.
Y'all seen that Uncle Murder track he just released about Diddy?
Oh yeah.
Dude. Did he do it? Did he not? That
man.
Wild.
I rock Uncle Murder.
I fuck with the last one on the greatest. I'm only speaking on my personal favorites, right? You know what I'm saying? My personal greatest, because, you know, obviously we could, I see somebody in the comments said Rakim. Definitely you got to put Rakim up there.
Island.
But when my personal favorites that I grew up, that I was just like,
stuck.
The last one would be, and this is probably one of the most underrated out of the bunch, is Sticky Fingers, yo.
Hell yeah. Yo,
Sticky Fingers.
It's funny you mentioned that because I've brought it up on multiple like interviews where I need rappers to jack for beats. I need, you know what I'm saying? Remember when Sticky used to do them shits?
Yeah, jacking for beats.
Oh man, them shits were the best, bro. Them shits were the best. That shit was
Sticky,
fun.
I was just so honored to have him on the track, dog. And they cool peoples too, man. Like Sticky threw that chorus in for me in my track with, you know, on himself. He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna do it out of the love, dog. And that was really dope. And I'm really honored that I was able to work with him, man.
Yeah,
but he's always definitely been up there for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen him during the time that I was coming up. I've seen him destroy people on records and destroy
he
dope MCs on record, man.
Yeah. He kind of cooked M on fucking
on that one,
on the Marshall Mathers LP on that Remember Me track. He
cooked. I don't want to say, but he cooked like 90% of the motherfuckers that be on record with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially in that time period, like that golden era, yo. So that's my vibe.
Some fun albums. He put out that dope album where he had the cornrows, the story of
the diary. I think it was Diary of Fred Jones, something like that.
Yeah, he super slept on. Very slept on.
Definitely slept on, man.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. The solid list, though.
I like.
Anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to add to the people out there, brother?
Well, I'm sorry. Say it again.
Anything else you want to add to the people? Wrapping up.
Like add to the artist or just
no, he meant anything you want to let the people know before we wrap up.
Oh,
you know what, what you got for everybody?
Yeah, plug your social.
All I gotta say is look out for the Miami community of hip hop, man. We out there, we live, we doing it as best as we can. Shout out to the Wolves. Make sure to check out the Wolves, Money Mobley, Art Morera. Martin Mobley and Joey De Silva right now got Crowbars.
It's fire.
Definitely check that out. My man Art Morera got his album Vanessa. Make sure to check that out. And yeah, man, like we out here, man. We doing it. Check out my album, Random Acts of Violence and Mirage EP. And yeah, we doing it, man. Shout out to B Dope, everybody.
Hey, salute to that, man. We're gonna definitely plug in all the projects, where to find your music and all that stuff. I got a question I like to ask everybody because, you know, obviously this platform is my child, but what do you think of the platform as far as like for artists and like as far as the reviews and stuff like that? What's your take on the platform?
One thing I gotta say that I love about y'all platform is that y'all honest. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, I've seen you guys. A record that I would think is like, oh, it's dope, you know, they're definitely gonna give it a thing, but y'all would say something that is just honest about the record, like this and that, and you rate it in what I would say in a great, honest way, and that's one of the things that I love about it. You know what I mean? Like your platform, I think it definitely is gonna grow. You know what I'm saying? So I fuck with it.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. It's always I always want to get like feedback because we got, you know, stuff like our last interview where people will completely come at us where it's like, bro, they're upset about like a bad review, and it's like, yeah, but the review we're critiquing, but we're also being honest. Like, you're not gonna like everything, we're not gonna like everything, but it's also like, yeah, we're a platform that's in the social media era, so we have to also add a little bit of fun to it, add a little bit of something that's gonna be, you know, not make it us take ourselves so serious, even though we do, you know. So it's like it's a tough game, you know. It's its own game in itself, but it's good to hear from artists because it's like, yo, I want to know what people truly think. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like,
well, just like how Erykah Badu would say, you know, as artists, we're sensitive about our shit. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of artists, if I had to speculate, you know, they'll have circles that that shit's fat. Everything they do is like, oh, that shit's dope. That shit's dope. That shit's hard. You know what I'm saying?
There's no growth with that.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And it's like sometimes you gotta just hear hard truths. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I 100% get it. But I'm a little biased because you've been hooking me up on you've been liking the project. So, I don't know about Mirage. Y'all haven't done Mirage yet, but I'm okay with whatever y'all say about it. Feel me?
All right, you'll see what it is soon, man.
All right, no, I appreciate that. No, but yeah, man, tell everybody where to follow you, where to find the music and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you could follow me at I Am Beleaf in IG. I think it's the same handle in YouTube. You can check out my podcast, Barcodes, the Barcodes podcast. That's on YouTube as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. You can find me, find my music on Spotify and all the streaming platforms. Just look up Mr. Beleaf.
Solid, man. Yo,
Cool.
this was super, super, super dope, man. It was dope having you on here, chopping it up with some hip hop. We're gonna make sure to plug everything on this when it drops because I clearly liked Random Acts of Violence, and we'll see what the Mirage View comes out with. But yo, it's dope music, and I will always gravitate towards dope music, especially when it comes with this much passion and like love and just like the artistry, bro. It's like it's students of the game making music, and that's you can almost never go wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? So salute to that, man. Yo, salute to you. This was super dope. We are signing off, everybody. Y'all enjoy.
Thank you for having me, man. By the way, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Super dope, man. Appreciate everybody in the comments, man. Y'all have a good one. Happy New Year.
Shout out to Wolves.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Wolves.